You know, it's difficult to imagine what it's like to be a juror in a death penalty case, having to make that decision. A jury in Connecticut had to do it in the trial of Stephen Hayes, one of two defendants in the horrific home invasion and murder trial from 2010.
When Michaela and her mom drove to the supermarket on a sunny Sunday afternoon, they had little idea two career burglars were watching.
This bank surveillance video shows Mrs. Pettit getting the cash while quietly telling the bank manager that two men were holding hostage her husband and daughters Haley and Michaela.
The beating of Dr. Pettit, the fact that an 11-year-old girl was tortured, was sexually assaulted, was killed, that evidence was just so heinous.
A mother's body burned beyond recognition. Haley, 17, found at the top of the stairs. Michaela, 11, found still tied to her bed.
He spent the last 8 weeks trying to convince jurors to spare his life.
A Connecticut jury has recommended death for Stephen Hayes.
We really thank the jury for their due diligence and careful consideration of the charges and reaching what we feel is an appropriate verdict.
Paula Calzetta was a member of the jury which returned a guilty verdict and a death penalty verdict for Stephen Hayes, and she joins us now live tonight by phone. Paula, thanks so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let's begin here. Can you explain to us what happens inside a jury room when the issue and the only thing you have to decide is life and death?
Well, first I'd like to extend my condolences and my sincere sadness and prayers to the Alexander family. I can only imagine what they're going through, having seen another family go through such terrible pain. Now, can you repeat the question?
Sure, Paula, and we do appreciate this, and I can tell how important you believe all this is, and it absolutely is the job that you guys did. What happens inside the jury room when the decision these 12 strangers have to make is life or death?
Well, first of all, having gone through so many days with a particular group of people and not being able to talk about anything about the trial for that period of time, you grow very close to each other. And when you are allowed to speak about the trial, there's an outpouring of emotions and feelings, and what I suspect is happening is that everyone is probably taking their turns and being heard, and which is I think it's the right thing to do. And if there are, they're probably taking they've taken a first vote to see where people stand, and then people start expressing their opinions and how they feel about what's happening. I don't think that because it's 7 hours, I don't think that's a particularly long time. I think they're probably being very diligent and going through what they've heard and what their feelings are and discussing it with each other.
Paula, can I ask you this?
We did. Yes.
In your case, everyone didn't agree out of the box, right, for death, so there was some disagreement. How does that process of changing minds and changing votes take place when it's life or death?
It's very slow. We all had a respect for everyone's feelings and opinions, each of us, and it was very important that especially the people that were dissenting, that they were heard and understood why they were giving the vote that they were giving in the case of not choosing the death penalty. What we kept doing was just going around and each speaking their mind, and actually it came down to a discrepancy in testimony, which I think was the turning point for our particular jury. And then it also was some people's feelings about the severity of putting someone to death. even though you sign up for it and you say you are able to make that decision, when you're faced with that challenge, it's on a different level. It's on a different level.
Oh.
And it
Paula?
becomes emotional.
Paula, and I can hear the emotion still in your voice now, and we really appreciate your perspective because it's so unique, and we thank you for your civic duty. A lot of people take those jury notices. They try to figure out a way not to do their civic duty. You did it, and we appreciate your time tonight, Paula. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. I just want to say I do believe in the jury system and that they will come to the correct decision.
Thanks so much, Paula. Have a great night.
Thank you.
After Dark continues.